This is Shark 3-1 aboard the USS George Washington in the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. Welcome to a DCS tutorial in the A-18C Hornet. Today we'll be learning how to start this beautiful airplane and get it in the air. A separate video will be made for landing, and we'll do a future series on other procedures in this aircraft. First things first, we want to remove the wheel chocks. We do this by pressing the communications key, which, if we look at the controls, by default is the right/ key. On my keyboard, that is the hash key. We press that, then press F8, F4, F2. There we go, we have confirmation they're gone. Now we can power on the battery with a click, with a right click, and power on the APU with another right click. I don't think you'll be able to hear it in the video, but there is a noticeable whine as the APU starts, and that will kind of fade as it powers on. You know it's on with that green light that's just come on, after which point we can begin to crank the engine with a right click of the engine crank switch. We can also close the canopy by pressing left control and C, which will lower the canopy switch in closed position, and it will automatically go back to hold if you use. Now engine RPM has reached 30%, we can press right shift and home to advance the throttle. That will bring the engine RPM to 65%, after which point the plane will fully power itself on, as the right engine is what contributes to the generator, powers the generator. Now that's on, we can use the mouse wheel or left click and hold and drag like I'm doing, right click, and then come down to the right panel here, right click the radar on the INS to power that on. If you're carrying a targeting pod, right click to standby, but since we're not doing that, I'll left click to power it off again. Now we can come over to the MFCD in the middle here and press the stored heading push button to begin stored heading INS alignment. Whilst that's going on, we can crank the left engine by left clicking the engine crank and do the same procedure as the right engine. The only difference being instead of right shift and home, we use right alt and home to advance the throttle. Whilst we wait for that, we will turn the HUD and the HMD on and begin the alignment. You do this by pressing the middle push button twice, then middle left push button for HMD, then the left push button on the bottom row to press the align button. This brings up two crosses, one on your HMD, one on your HUD. You align them both using either the numpad controls, your head tracking, or VR, whatever you have, and then press and hold the cage and cage switch on your keyboard or HOTAS. Align OK, nice. Now that's done, you can slew this around to align it more accurately. Yeah, there we go, that's good enough for me. We can now press the align button again to get rid of that. Whilst we were doing that, the left engine got to idle RPM. So now we can advance throttle to idle with right alt and home. And that will power on the left engine. We can also unsafe the ejection seat and reset the FCS, set takeoff trim, turn off the APU, and turn on the OBOGs, which is there. It's that back switch there that turns on the oxygen for the pilot. INS is just counting down, so we'll set ECM to standby, dispenser to bypass or on. I leave it in bypass, but some people prefer on, and turn on the radar warning receiver. Now INS is saying OK, we can set this to nav radar to operate, and we are ready to taxi. So we begin taxiing by pulling the emergency brake, left click that, and we then press the nose steering button on your flight stick. This allows a greater range of motion and allows us to do much tighter turns on the flight deck, which is important on space. We are taxiing to catapult 1, which is the rightmost catapult, and it goes from right to left, 1, 2, 3, and 4 back there. So the flight crew in charge of this catapult has told us to extend our wings, which we will do, whilst also uncaging the backup EDI. He's told us to stop, so I will press the wheel brakes on both of my pedals to stop us. Now the wings are extended, you can use the mouse wheel to push that in. And at the same time, he has told us to extend the nose wheel launch bar, which you left click to extend. This will allow the ground crew to hook us into the launching apparatus, like they have done there as you saw the plane move. We're now being told to taxi forwards, so advance the throttle to about halfway, a little bit more to get over this bump. There we go. Now throttle down to idle. Do a quick control wipeout to check everything locked and ready. Yeah, all working. Now, he just told us to raise the launch bar. We didn't see it, so I'll do that. And we're being told to increase throttle, which I will do now. We're now launching. Whilst we launch, I'll quickly turn on IFF data link before we take off. Okay, now we're in the air. I will retract landing gear and tack end before 250. Landing gear and the flap, sorry, before 250 knots to prevent damage. My bad. And thank you very much for watching. That is how you start up and take off an A-18C Hornet aboard a carrier in DCS World. This has been Shark31. Thank you very much for watching.